what if I told you that I was going to give you a free trip to Hawaii if you just do these 3 things? Today I'm going to show you what happens when you're an active learner and how to get your teen to be a more active learner when they're trying to learn something, especially if they're having to learn it through watching YouTube videos or online or whatever. This is the exact approach that I've used with my online students to just like take them from just like passively sitting there and doing nothing to actually learning and having more confidence about learning math. So by the end of the video, you'll have a solid plan for like how to help your teen become a more active learner so that they can actually benefit from sitting in front of a YouTube video about how to solve a math equation or something like that. All right, so let's jump in. So I said at the beginning, what if I said I'd give you a free trip to Hawaii, right? You just have to do these 3 things. Now, if you really believed me, if I was really going to do that, think about your response. Like, think about if somebody said, I'm gonna give you this huge, amazing thing. You just have to do these 3 things, right? My immediate response when I hear something like that is I sit up, I'm like, oh, what's going on? I lean in, like I'm physically closer to the speaker, even if it's on a camera and it's not even live or whatever. And I find their face, I'm looking at their eyes, like watching their facial expression. And I might even be like frantically trying to find a pen or my phone or something, like so I can type up or write down what are the 3 things so I can do those things. So what I'm talking about is body language, and body language is one of the main things that are involved in active learning. And sometimes, whereas if we start learning something without even thinking about it, then our bodies sort of react to that. But if we turn it around and if we're not that engaged, we're just not really being an engaged learner, we're not really caring about whatever, you know that situation, right, with your own teen. Sometimes you have to put the body language first. So turn it around. Encourage them to lean forward and watch, right? It seems so silly, and yet it's something that sort of engages the brain. The brain's like, oh, we're doing this. Oh, okay, let's do this, right? It's not a magic formula. It's just one piece of something that will help to stimulate your brain to start focusing better. 2, be the video boss. Your teen has to be the boss of that video. You play and pause the video when you need to. You don't just sit there and watch the whole thing and never pause it if you're actually trying to figure out how to learn how to solve this equation. You back up 10 seconds or more. If you need to hear a point again, you realize that you zoned out or whatever. If the first time through didn't make sense, then you rewatch it. Like, you are the boss of it. Do you remember when your kids were little? I don't know. My kids would always, they came home from school and they're like, you're not the boss of me, to their siblings, And I'm like, what is that word? That was a whole big thing that kids went through and would say. And so they need to take that expression and they need to be the boss of the video that they're watching. They're the boss. Okay, so body language, be the video boss. And then the 3rd thing, this is where they're going to actually jump in and work on, let's go with solving an equation. So they found a YouTube video on solving an equation. The first thing is, do you have pencil and paper and a calculator? Because this is math, and if you really want to learn it, you're going to write it down. You can argue all you want, but let's just go with it, right? Let's just write it down and ask yourself, what do you think when you're looking at this? And I know one of the first things is probably, well, I think this is hard and I don't know how to do it, right? Like, there's that frustration piece. I get it. Okay, sure. Now, what else do you think when you look at this problem? What do you think's going to happen here? What do you think is the goal? What are you trying to do? What's the answer going to look like? Well, it's going to look like X equals a number or something, right? What do you notice? Does it have parentheses? Does it have a fraction? Like, what do you notice in this problem? Are there negatives? Things like that. And then the next question is, do you know the first step? Do you know the first step? The first step is always the hardest in a lot of things in life, and that is so true when it comes to math. So do you know the first step? If you know the first step, then do it. Do that first step, and then hit play on the video. watch that person do the first step. Woohoo! Yeah, you did it. If you don't know the first step, then watch the video for the first step. Now, here's where you get to pick. And you have to know yourself. And I'm talking to you parents, but you teenagers as well, or parents, tell your teens this. Like, do you need to just watch that first step and then pause and then write it down? Or do you need to like write as they're talking? Because me personally, I need to write as they talk. My husband needs to watch it, listen, and not have to be expected to write anything down. Once they're done, he can pause and he can write it down, right? That's how we learn differently. He's got a great mind for business and math and took calculus and all those things, and right? So he's definitely a smart person, but his way is not better than mine, and mine's not better than his. This is just how our brains are wired. So you either write down the first step while they're doing it, or you watch how they do it, and then you write down the first step. Okay. And so then you ask yourself, do I know what to do now? Do I know what the next step is? If you do it. Then play the video. Woohoo! Pat yourself on the back. If you don't know what to do next, then watch the next step. And then you're in charge of the video, so you stop it and you write, make sure you write down, think about what you've done. When you finish that problem, that one singular problem, get a clean sheet of paper and write the problem down again. Whew. Now, this whole process might take 5 minutes, like it's not like it's the rest of your life. Like, don't feel like this is an endless cycle or whatever. Write the problem again and start over and say, do I know what the first step is? It's the very same problem. You just did it, right? But sometimes these problems are really involved and you might just be like, I just blanked out. I have no idea. Well, watch again. The beauty of it is you can watch that video again. That person's never going to get tired of you saying, let's start again, right? On that video. You just started back over. And so that's kind of nice. And so if you know it, then see how many steps you can get to this time. And you're just doing the same problem again until you can do this problem entirely on your own. And that's how you're an active learner in math. If you want to really know how to do this kind of problem, when you've done this, assign it to somebody else. Assign this problem, write it down on a clean sheet of paper, take it to mom or dad, grandma, and walk them through solving this problem. Answer any questions they have, but you're only allowed to instruct them like verbally. They have to do all the writing. There's your clue as to whether you know how to do it or not. And when they say, well, why did I add 3 to both sides? Like, can you answer that question? Like, do you know why you add 3 to both sides? Like, why didn't you subtract 3 from both sides? Like, if you can teach something, then you could do it really well. All right, that's active learning. Now go and be active.